Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my buddy Jose, who is in Miami Beach. How's it going, buddy?
Good, bro. Staying warm, unlike you.
So freeze right now. It's 5 degrees. I
I can't even fathom that, dude. I can't even.
it sucks. So I'm cooped up in the house and doing a fun episode with you. So before we get into our really fun topic, I always like to ask my guests, how did you become a Bon Jovi fan?
So it's pretty simple. I was in seventh grade, and Bad Name had just come out, and it was a little before Christmas. I want to say maybe October, November, and everybody in my class was like singing along to this song. I'm like, what song is this? I finally heard it.
What year was this? Right when
This, this,
Sleeper?
this was October, November '86.
This is right when Sleeper was coming out. Well,
Right.
yeah, Bad Name would have already been out as a single, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, around that time. It was mid to late '86. And I fell in love with the song. I'm like, oh my God, that's such a great song. And before then, it was the 80s. I was into like Duran Duran and all that stuff. And but I heard Bad Name, and then and then Prayer came out. And that just changed my life. It was awesome. And then I saw the album. Everybody was giving it to everybody for Christmas, and I saw the album cover. And I didn't know the Hefty Bag story. I didn't know the whole backstory. To me, it looked like outer space.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I was like blown away. I'm like, oh my God. And then I just heard the rest of the album. And one song was better than the next and the next. And ever since then, I've just been completely obsessed.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And you became a fan when they became the biggest band in the world. And
Yeah.
to me, they still are. But for you to be able to see them at their peak, I mean, as far as success goes, at their biggest success, man, that's awesome. That is
Yeah. The first time I saw them was in February 9th, 1989. I'll never forget it. Them in Skid Row here in Miami. And it made me want to go back and listen to their first two albums, which weren't obviously that popular, but especially for a top 40 kid like me. And I listened to 7800 and Bon Jovi. And again, I fell in love, and they're incredible, man. Incredible. And again,
in the world.
I wanted to thank you, by the way. I started your podcast. Discovered your podcast during COVID. And everybody's got a lot of time on their hands. And I saw your podcast, and I just became a huge fan. And I want to thank you for keeping this huge community updated with not only discussions and conversations, but updates on any news and stuff like that. With the world going crazy as it is, it's such a peaceful outlet for us to listen to this.
Yeah,
So
I
thank you.
appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time to even listen. And that's why I started, during the pandemic. We're all cooped up in our houses, and I'm like, Kiss fans have podcasts, Motley Crue fans have podcasts, but Bon Jovi didn't. And I'm like, and one of the things too was that going to shows and being able to converse with other fans and your friends and just talking about the band that you love, it's great. And unfortunately, 2020 took away that summer tour that they were going to do.
Yeah.
And I thought, how about doing a podcast where I invite other Bon Jovi fans to come on the podcast and about whatever topic. And
And you get them from all over the world too, which is so
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And I try to include everyone. And it was only going to be for like a pandemic thing. I say I'm just going to do it for the pandemic, and when the world gets better, I'm just going to shut it down. Well, I mean, I'm not a numbers guy. I don't care about views. I don't care about follower. I don't care about that stuff. But the podcast does so well. So many people listen to it and love it that I continue it. And it's great to have other Bon Jovi fans like you who love this band so much that they're willing to come on this podcast and share that love and talk about whatever topic that they want to talk about. It's great. We're a community.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyway, buddy, I woke up this morning and I raised my weary head. And I said to myself, today I'm going to do a podcast episode about Blaze of Glory. Did you see my little pun there? My little
I did. I kept singing the lyrics in my head.
anyway, anyone that's listening, I am started. So I did this in early pandemic where I did each album and an overview of the album, then we went track by track. I did that early on the podcast. I'm doing it again. So I haven't posted it online yet. For those that want to do an album, since you guys are listening, you guys can message me and you'll be the first ones to pick whatever album you want to talk about. I'll eventually post it on Twitter for people to sign up for an album. But throughout the year, I'm going to do different episodes of different topics, but I'm also going to do an album review here and there. So stay tuned for that. Um, yeah, so this is our first one. So we are going to do Blaze of Glory. So a little overview. This album came out in August 7th, 1990. This is John Bon Jovi's very first solo album. And it was written for the movie Young Guns 2, which is you've seen that movie, right, buddy?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so the story behind this was that John was obviously after the big success of Slippery, New Jersey, and the band on this whirlwind of a tour, John was kind of refinding himself and taking a break from everything. And Emilia Estevez, he had asked John if he could use Wanted Dead or Alive for the movie. And I think the story goes that John said, I can write you something better for the movie. And he wrote the song on a napkin within minutes.
Yeah.
And then it became not only just that song, but he wrote an entire album for the movie. And I say this very a lot, but I think him writing that album was very therapeutic for him because not only was he writing about a character and a story, but I also think he was tying himself with that character where he was at in his life, with success and the band and his personal life and just kind of rediscovering himself. And I think it's really fabulous songwriting because if you really listen to the lyrics, I think he's also talking about himself. Let's see here.
Well, he was on a serious journey at that point. There was the burnout.
Yep.
Then he did that whole motorcycle, trip with his wife and Doc and God only knows who else. And he was on a serious escapism, really, from
Yeah,
that machine.
exactly. Because the tour ended in, I think, February of 1990. The album came out in August. So he took a little bit of a break, but went back into writing and stuff. And this album also features a lot of cool artists like Elton John, or Little Richard, Jeff Beck, Randy Jackson, Oda Nova. And this album won a Golden Globe and it was also nominated for Academy Awards and a Grammy.
Yeah.
And I think it hit number 3 on the Billboard. Um, so,
Well, he got robbed of the Academy Award
oh, absolutely.
completely.
I think the band, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but I think the band performed Blaze of Glory.
Yeah, they did. They did. It
Yeah,
was the first time they played that together. Yeah.
yeah. And I think it was the first time they got together um, after the New Jersey. Um, I'll tell you a little fun story before we get into the tracks. I remember, so when I became a fan in 2000, I got the Crush CD. That was my very first album. And I loved it so much that I listened to it all the time. And my dad said, "Look, you gotta find another album to listen to." And I was like, "Well, I want to listen to Bon Jovi." And so my dad made me a deal. This is back when you could buy CDs and tapes at Walmart, cassette tapes. And my dad said, "I'll buy you either one CD, which was like $6 or $15, or I'll buy you two cassette tapes, which were like $8 each." And so obviously I said, I'll get the cassette. I'll get two cassettes. So I bought Crossroad and I got Blaze of Glory right here.
Nice. I have that too, signed by him. Yeah.
You have it signed?
Yeah,
Nice.
because back then the Backstage fan club, they had their first, whatever signed thing, and that was the year that it came out, and I paid for one, and he signed it, and I still have it.
Yeah, you gotta show me a picture of that later.
Oh well,
So anyway, so yeah, so I got this cassette tape and I didn't know about the movie. I'm only 8 years old, so I really didn't know Young Guns 2, but like I'm trying to figure out which one was John in the picture. Not later discovered it's the cast of the movie.
Yeah, it
But
wasn't Lou Diamond Phillips.
yeah, no, I rolled him out pretty quick.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was the guy on the far left here.
Oh my God, Christian Slater.
Yeah, is that Christian Slater? But
Yeah.
so I uh I wore this tape out so quick though. I mean, I listened to it all the time, and it served as a pathway for me to discover more Bon Jovi music and just maybe fall more in love with the music and the songwriting and the band. Obviously, I know this is a solo album, but I also had Crossroad, and so yeah, let's you know what? Before we get into photography, I want to ask you, what's your overview of the whole album? What's your take?
I mean, look, my philosophy is that every album that comes out, it means something to you in that specific time period. In my life at that point, I was, coming of age. I was a teenager. I was already hardcore into Bon Jovi, and I got the cassette like you did. I bought it in the store before I got the signed copy because I had to have it right away. And I was living in New Jersey at the time. I lived in Miami all my life, but for sophomore and junior year of high school, I lived in Jersey. And making friends in a state that I didn't know anybody. At that point in your life, your life is all about friendship. And the album was completely about friendship, as was New Jersey. But
Yeah,
the songwriting, like you mentioned before, it was unbelievable, the songwriting on this album.
yeah,
I mean, just completely different from a Bon Jovi album, but, you loved it just the same. And
yeah,
it just, back then it was, again, he had this era where all the songs were about, the foundation of friendship. And that at that age, it means a lot to anybody that listens to it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned the songwriting. I'm glad you mentioned that because obviously, the songs in the 80s were great, but they were a young guy joining a going into a rock band kind of songs, love and this and that. But I think Blaze of Glory was the very start of John writing more mature songs. And a lot of songs on
Adult
here,
writing. Yeah, adult writing.
yeah, a lot of songs on here about, discovering yourself, resilience towards, we're going to get through all these songs, what they mean, resilience and, redemption. And like I said, we're just kind of rediscovering himself. And then also, obviously, the character of Billy the Kid, and what he was doing. Um, Photography, obviously, whoever did the photography for the album cover or for the movie cover, but Mark Weiss, who's worked with the band for years, he started with Slippery in New Jersey, and he's continued through the years. But and Timothy White, both did fantastic photography of the band
Mark
of
Weiss released
John.
a huge photo album, a huge book. I don't know if you
Yeah,
got it a few years back,
yeah,
and I got it from him. He signed it for me. And he signed it on the page. It's a big open centerfold of John on the bike.
yeah, yeah. That's really cool. And so like the CD, I always thought the CD cover was really cool, with John, the brown back. And I think Richie did the same thing on his solo album.
Probably Stranger. Yeah,
Yeah, it was Stranger. But yeah, it's a really cool picture of John, which is, for those who are watching on YouTube, that picture there. I think it's and I think the booklet is kind of cool. One side is
the lyrics.
lyrics, and then the other one's a poster of JBJ.
Yeah,
you know, and I remember being a kid hanging this up on my wall, and yeah, but John just looks awesome in this. He looks really cool. So I wish they kind of would have included more JBJ photography, but uh, I guess it is for a soundtrack, so it is what it is. So all right, buddy. Well, let's get into our first song. The first song is Billy Get Your Guns, which is the opening of the album. And I always like right at the intro, it has Emilio from the movie, hoo hoo, I'll make you famous, and then the drums kick in that da, da, da,
I
and
love that.
man,
I
that
loved it.
that that drum intro and that guitar riff, man, it's so fucking good. I love it. Um,
It's when I popped in that cassette, I knew Billy Get Your Guns because I had seen the movie. And at the very end of the movie, if I'm not mistaken, during the credits, they play Billy Get Your Guns.
Yeah.
So I had known Billy Get Your Guns and I had known Blaze. But when I popped in that cassette, I didn't know that it was going to lead off with Emilio Estevez with the line
Yeah.
from the song. And it was so perfect. And then listening, and like you said, we'll get into it, but listening throughout the album, they interspersed little quick sound bites from the movie, which I thought was awesome because
Yeah.
the movie itself was great.
Yeah. Because they do at the end of Miracle, they go, "You are not a god. Why don't you pull the trigger and find out?" And then, well, then he goes into that Blaze of
Yeah. And then
Glory
they did the same
episode
thing for, I think, Dying Ain't Much of a Living. I think they did it at the beginning of that one too. But
about the little
Billy
boy.
Get Your Guns was the first one they did it to. It was great.
Yeah. So yeah, so anyway, the song starts with that drum and guitar riff, and then like John's vocals are so fucking good on this album. Like it is, because he was so burnt out from New Jersey, and he takes that little break and then records these songs. His vocals are phenomenal on it, and so you get that. How's it? I just seen trouble. He's calling out your name tonight, Billy. Just those classic JBJ vocals.
I
Um,
think his vocals on this, I mean, this is just my opinion. Everybody's going to have their own, but his vocals on Blaze and his vocals on the These Days album, in my opinion, are probably the best singing he's ever done.
oh yeah, absolutely. For the meaning of this movie, I think it explores. Obviously, it's about Billy the kid, the character in the movie. Explores the rebellion, the lawless world, the cowboy, and the consequences. And it just shows Billy and how he's constantly into trouble and all the dangerous situations that he's in. Like the one line, a bullet wears your name. Everyone on the hunt for Billy, and so Billy having to be on the lookout in the defense, be ready because trouble's coming your way
Yeah.
from your actions. You know. Um, I also like the mention of the bandieros, I think it's called.
The Bandoleros
What
are
is that?
calling out your name tonight. I think it is.
What is that? What's a bandiero?
The Bandoleros, I think, is they're either outlaws or I could be. It's two extremes. They're, if I'm not mistaken, and I know Spanish, so I should know. Bandoleros are either outlaws or musicians, and the only reason I say musicians is because I think Sting has like a side project where he calls his musicians the bandoleros.
Okay. Anyway, so the bandieros, the whispering winds, and the devil, I think, is a hint at being caught between evil and good. And we know Billy the Kid's his character is not that good of, he's bad.
Yeah,
Um, so live they did this. Did you ever see? So obviously John didn't do any promo for this album or tour. He didn't tour or anything. He just released it and that was it.
yeah,
But in 1998, on the Destination Anywhere era,
yeah, yeah.
he would do it live here and there. But one of my favorite performances of the song is
The
um,
barbecue.
the barbecue VH1 back. So if for anyone that hasn't seen it, go on YouTube. It's on there. It's 1998 VH1 Backyard Barbecue with JBJ and friends. And I think he starts the show with that song, to be honest. And it's so fucking good.
Yeah,
And 2009 Starland Ballroom he played.
yeah.
And that was a good performance too.
During the Destination era, since you mentioned it, I think that performance from the barbecue, or could be another one, but I think it's the one from the barbecue. He had that live performance on one of the CD singles from the album. I think it was either Destination Anywhere itself or
The Destination had some Blaze of Glory live tracks. Yeah.
yeah, and Midnight in Chelsea. One of the two had the live track of
Really get your gun.
Billy Get Your Guns, and man, it's but like all their songs, they're so perfect on the album. And you hear them live, and it blows you away even more.
Yeah, exactly. Um, my favorite lyric in the song is all the whores are hanging out waiting to get paid. Billy gets the
Yeah,
guns. From Johnny on the spot who said, "Keep the change, baby. Get your Billy gets your guns." I just fun lyrics and stuff. And it's so funny too because like before, like I said, I was a young kid. I'm like, well, what's a whore?
yeah. I was going to tell
And
you that. I
yeah,
was 16, 17 years old. No, I was 16 in the back of my parents' car singing along to the song about horse. You know, it was crazy.
um, And so like, and I hate using the word whore because I think it's
Yeah, I
not a
get
good
you.
word to use, especially like in today's era. Back then, but
Yeah.
I never seen the movie, so I'm like, well, what's a whore? And then I get older and older, and then I really realize what it is. So how many little kids, say all the whores are waiting to get paid, and I was looking at me like, what? You know?
And I don't
Um,
know if you remember this, speaking of the barbecue performance and even the live version on the CD single, when he would do it live, he would say in the album, he goes from some Johnny on the spot.
you could change.
He changes to from some Bobby on the spot, referring to Bobby Bandiera.
I didn't catch that. I have to
And
listen.
you'd hear in the live performance the Bobby every time going, "What are you trying to say?" Right after he says from some Bobby on the spot, and he looks at Bobby, and Bobby's just cracking up. You got to hear it again, man. It's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
I'll have to go back. Yeah, and check that out. That's funny. Do you have a favorite lyric or a favorite part of the song?
I ha- I like the entire. There's a couple songs in this album that we'll get to that to this day are my favorite songs. Billy Get Your Guns from the beginning to the end. Um, Again, you mentioned the Emilio Estevez intro. I thought it was such a perfect way to incorporate the movie
Yeah.
and kick off what ended up being like a defining record. Um, I love the whole song, man. But when he gets into that bridge, they christen you with
Oh,
whiskey.
and there's fire running through your veins,
Yeah,
but you're an
that
outlaw all the same. And every night a bullet wears your name. That's one of
yeah,
my favorite parts of the song.
just
And the way
that
that
just
John
that
sings
line,
it.
just
Yeah,
that line. They christen you with whiskey. I mean, you got to be a genius or connected to God telepathically to come up with that kind of stuff.
yeah. And I love the way that the vocals kind of shift and the song kind of shifts a different sound and way when they see they christen you with whiskey and there's fire running through your veins. And it kind of goes back into the flow of the song. But yeah, I love the bridge. I think that's the bridge.
Yeah,
And the way that John just screams the title track too, especially in the final chorus, I just love it. Um, so anything else about the song that we didn't cover that you want to cover?
no, we're good with that one.
All right, the next one is Miracle. This was actually the second single for the album, and this was released I think the fall of 1990, just a few months after Blaze of
After
Glory.
Blaze, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, this charted at number 12 on the Billboard. This is actually one of my top three favorites. I think the lyrics are very inspired and probably my favorite lyrics of the whole album. For me, I think the song's about, finding hope in life's challenges and trying to find a way to keep going. And you're pretty much at your own despair trying to find a way out. And, there's a line in there too where it talks about the weight on your shoulders. I think that John was referring to himself there with, the fame and success that he had or was having. And it's also about triumph of overcoming challenges. So I think that's a really important song to listen to when you're really feeling low and you're trying to better the situation.
absolutely. One of my favorite lines on there, actually, since you're talking about the lyrics, is "We have to kick the ground, the stars kiss the sky,"
So your
which I
spirits,
thought was just again just poetry.
yeah. And the way that John delivers, a man has to die. He promised us truth, and now they're giving us these. I just love the way that John delivers those lyrics, especially in the verses.
Yeah, yeah.
It makes you like. It feels like he's like reaching into your chest and grabbing your heart and squeezing it. That's what it
It's a
feels.
very, very soul searching song, man. It really
Yeah,
is.
it is. The music video is really fun. It actually features Jeff Beck in it and Matt LeBlanc. That's how you.
Joey,
What's that?
Joey
Joey? Who's
from
Joey?
Friends.
Oh, I don't watch Friends. I'm like the
What?
I'm like the only person in this entire world that doesn't watch Friends. I don't get
Oh
that.
my God! You
I
gotta. It's a
watched like
great
two
show.
episodes. I'm like, I just didn't care for it.
Oh my God! It's a great show. It's funny. I mean, it's not The Sopranos or anything like that, but
Yeah,
for comedy relief, it's pretty good, man.
yeah. But the music video was filmed at Velasat Motion Picture Ranch in Saugus, California.
Oh
And
wow! I thought it was actually filmed in Mexico. Honestly, I thought.
yeah, no, California. Um,
Hmm.
but the music video also features, John going on pretty much on a cross country trip like he really was before writing this album. And so I thought it was funny, like with the police officer in the beginning too, and they're all passing the police officer, and I thought that was pretty cool. Um, Live, I wish they would have. I don't think he's never done it live.
He did it once, and I wish I could. I'm sure I could look it up and tell you later on. But he was doing again during Destination Anywhere. He did a lot of special events,
Oh, you're
and
right.
someone
Yeah,
like a lot of Q&A, and somebody asked him, "Would you sing this?" And he tried to sing it. I have a recording of it, and he
yeah,
kind of stumbles through the lyrics. He can't
yeah.
remember
It's just him and a guitar play. You're right. I
exactly.
forgot about that. Yeah, I gotta find that out. If you have it,
I do have it. I can send it to you. I can tell you the date and everything. I have it. I can look it up real quick. But yeah, that was I think the only time because even when he did Destination Anywhere and even when he would do those runaway trips, he did a lot. He did Santa Fe a couple times during those runaway trips, but he never did Miracle. Surprisingly,
yeah, Miracle is one of my favorite songs on this album. Um, Favorite lyric is "I'm just one man, that's all I'll ever be. I never can be everything you want from me. I got big plans so big that any blind man can see. I'm standing in the river, now I'm drowning in the sea." And I just love those lines. It's very inspiring
yeah,
because you're pretty much saying, "This is me. This is who I am. I'm trying to live up to what you want me to be, but I can't, but I got my own plans in mind." And I think that's John talking about himself too, about, the machine just overworking him and just thinking, this is what I want to do. And I think, also, like where he was at with the band and Doc, he's firing Doc McGee and like John just has this is my vision. This is what I want the direction of the band to go to and blah, blah, blah. So maybe I'm overthinking that, but that's how I,
nah. I mean, look, I think if they ever do come out with an autobiography, and I think that era, the end of Jersey, going into Keep the Faith, I think that could bring on like four chapters in of itself because of all the stuff that was going on. By the
absolutely.
way, I looked it up. That Miracle performance was at the House of Blues in New Orleans, July 31st, 97.
I've totally forgot that got played for. I mean, obviously acoustic and just John on a guitar, but that's still a gem to have. I'm gonna have to find it and post it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sure you can find it anywhere, but I think I can send you the thing. But it was a whole it was like one of those sit down things, kind of like an unplugged thing,
mhm.
and it was a Q&A thing with the fans, and that's how a fan asked, "Could you possibly sing a little bit of Miracle?" And he was like, he's like, "I don't know if I remember it." He kind of started to, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, buddy. Next one. This is probably the biggest hit on the album, Blaze of Glory. This was the first single released in July 5th, 1990, although some other countries got it later in July. Had some actually really cool beat sides to this single. Blood Money Live. It had You Really Got Me Now, which was a bonus track. Because keep in mind, this single came out in July. So the only song that people got to hear was Blaze of Glory. You Really Got Me Now was the second song that people got to hear because it was a B-side, a month before the album came out. Um, so this song hit number one on the Billboard. It won American Music Awards for favorite pop and rock song. It won a Golden Globe for best original song. And John's vocals are incredible to it. And we go back to how the idea of the album started when Amelia went up to him and said, "Can we use Wanted?" And blah blah blah. I really, if you listen to Wanted and Blaze of Glory back to back, you see the similarities, but also how different they are. They're both
Absolutely.
that cowboy sounding rock song. Um, so Aldo Nova wrote the main guitar riff. Randy Jackson was on the bass. Kenny Aronoff was on the drums on this. Um, Man, I don't know where to start with this song. I think it's so freaking good. I was listening to this song earlier actually, And I thought to myself too, when he's singing, I wake up in the morning, I raise my weary head, kind of, I love how the song, all the musical instruments just stop, and it's just him, and it's like one big echo. I love that. I thought that's one of my favorite parts about the song.
It's so atmospheric, actually, when the music just stops and he sings that, and I think the
Yeah,
lyrics come across a lot more too. I love when they do that.
yeah, absolutely. The music video was filmed at the rectory near Moab, Moab, Utah. Um, Really cool atmosphere. Obviously, you've seen the video, so you know. And I love the flames in the drive-through, and it shows the movie on the drive-in
That
screen.
was another Wayne Isham classic.
Oh, I forgot Wayne did film that music video, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, you're
I
right.
remember
Wayne.
they did an MTV special called Guns and Glory or something, and they showed the making of the video,
Yeah,
and they had basically had to hammer everything down to the top of the mountain because of
yeah,
how windy it was. So they hammered all the gear and everything down, and they had to sleep on top of the mountain. And Wayne Isham was there, and they interviewed him, and he was calling for certain shots. I mean, what an epic video
yeah,
shoot that must have been.
yeah. That's awesome. Going back to what it is musically, it has like the end for the da 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 da. It's kind of like that one. Obviously, it's a different riff, but I love how it starts out with a really cool acoustic riff.
Yeah.
Um, Live now, I love that they've done this song live through the years. I love the way that the band Bon Jovi plays it. Richie, David, and Tico, and Hugh Alec. Um, I Especially Richie adds such a really cool style to the song. Obviously Jeff Beck does it fantastic. The way that Richie plays the solo, the way that the band just makes it like as if it was their own song.
I
I
think
love.
every time I hear them play it live, I can't help but imagine just because of what you said, how Richie plays it, and his background vocals, which are second to none.
Yeah,
My God! But
absolutely.
when he plays that song, and you can tell in his face, the first time he heard that song, he probably just went nuts and was a huge fan when he heard it, just because of the way he plays it.
Yeah,
It's like you said, it's like his own.
yeah, absolutely. Favorite lyric is you asked me about my conscience and I offer you my soul. You asked me if I'll grow old to be a wise man. Why I ask if I'll grow old.
Yeah.
You asked me if I've known love and what it's like to sing songs in the rain. I've seen love come. I've seen it shot down. I've seen it die in vain. Man, I love the way that he delivers though. I've if I've known love and what it's like to sing songs in the rain. I love the way that he just delivers that line. Man, it's so freaking good.
But then you think about the bigger picture, man, and I don't mean to get sidetracked, but
Oh,
my favorite album by them will always, and this is it, it's very hard for me to pick a favorite album by them only because every album is my favorite album by them. But for me, New Jersey is like you get doesn't get any better than Jersey. But when you think about it, listen to just the songwriting, the wording that you just said, to go from something like 99 in the Shade, which I absolutely love,
yeah. Mhm.
on the next album that he writes, to go to the lyrics that you literally just quoted from Blaze of Glory, it's like we said before, just that shift into more mature songwriting. But what a jump!
Yeah, absolutely. Big jump.
Yeah,
Both fantastic songs, but yeah, it's a jump. Um, I forgot to mention what I think this song means, and I think it's about mortality, and it's that cowboy way of being an outlaw, and you don't know how long you have, when you're basically gonna
it's
get
day to
shot down.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's about living on your own terms and going out on top, essentially. And I also, and it's about the kid story, obviously, but I also think with John's relation to the song, I think he's also talking about the pressures of fame, the distrust and the pain and pressure of being John Bon Jovi, you know?
yeah.
So, anything else you want to say about the song that we didn't cover?
No, I'm dying to get to the ones that are my favorite, which I'll tell you when we get to them.
Uh, Next one is Blood Money. And I think this is one of the most heartfelt songs on the album because I think it's about betrayal and the price on Billy the Kid's head. But also I think it's near and dear to John because I think it's like the song suggests, someone's after Billy the Kid for fortune, even though they were friends. And it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but I think it's basically the one character. He's was good friends with Billy the Kid, but now there's a fortune out for him if he kills Billy. And so he's selling pretty much his soul and everything he believes in to kill Billy the Kid for a fortune. So I also think that John's talking about himself there, having to sell your soul for fortune and like not necessarily selling himself for the fortune, but because of who he is, he's John Bon Jovi and he has to be John Bon Jovi for that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I completely get that. And I also remember when I was little, because I would read up on these guys. I mean, I'm telling you, now as an adult, having a wife and two kids, I don't have as much time. But back then, I would read up on them, and I knew that things weren't as rosy as they seemed between him and Richie at the time. And so when he would sing the song, the part, the scene about me, the scene about you, or the good and the bad times we've both been through, I knew that it was about him and Pat Garrett, Billy Kid and Pat Garrett, but
Okay, that's the name. Yeah.
I couldn't help but let me think that maybe the stuff going on with Richie bled into that only because it wasn't about them. It was about the machine and, you know, the management wanted them to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah. You know what? I never realized. See, that's why I love doing these album discussions because I never
Yeah,
really
man.
thought about that, because this ain't about me, it's ain't about you for all the good and the bad times that we've both been through. When the lines between brothers and this
Yep.
change, you do what you got it because you can't walk away. Man, I never, yeah,
As a little kid, reading up on how things were tense between them, I couldn't
yeah.
help but think about that.
Now, John, well, even so John has done it live a few times over the years, especially with the band, like on the Circle tour, they did it. The whole band would come up and they would do like an acoustic Blood Money.
It's so good live, so
Yeah,
good.
and I really love the song, the sound. I love the harmonica and just an acoustic guitar. It's a harmonica, acoustic guitar, and John. And I think the harmonica it has such a nice touch in a way that it just reaches your soul.
Yeah.
As well as John's vocals. One of my favorite John vocals on this album is Blood Money. The way he sings it, especially Blood Money. That's what I call it because money for blood ain't no fair exchange.
You know that I don't know if you know this because you became a fan later on. And like I said, I was really hardcore when I was young. There was an extra verse, an
Yes,
extra
yes.
to this. He did it live on Rockline in 1990, and there was an extra verse which I have here.
Oh,
Um, and that leads me to think, and I was going to mention this after we wrapped it up and stuff, but I would go nuts if they were to come out with like some sort of deluxe edition of this album. Now, it's be difficult because, according to interviews that I've heard, he only did these songs. He only wrote these songs for the album.
from what I understand, there is no outtakes.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear the demos. Like we got to hear the
Yeah,
whole.
I'd love to hear the demos and I'd love to hear, a professional recording of the whole,
Yeah.
Blood Money. And then on that same interview, which it's a song that he wrote, but it was more funny than anything, he did something called The Ballad of Alice Cooper,
Mm,
which I don't know if you ever heard his same interview. And he sang a song that he wrote about Alice Cooper, and he incorporated all of Alice Cooper's song titles in the song.
really?
Yeah, I can't believe you've never heard. I gotta send this to you, man. It's
Yeah.
really good. But he wrote it at the time of Blaze of Glory, and they could put some live performances on there. They could remaster the album.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
could, I would just love to see some sort of deluxe
Yeah.
edition of this album with demos.
Well, last year was the 25th anniversary, and I couldn't believe we didn't get anything for it. But like,
Yeah,
Obi for the Bon Jovi Sirius XM channel, um, when they were putting out demos, they put out a demo for Billy Get Your Guns and Blaze of Glory.
yeah.
And I think the Blaze of Glory has like a really cool Jeff Beck intro, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. But yeah,
But you know
next,
what? During that time in the studio, and because it was on backstage with Bon Jovi just recently, he put a clip of John and Elton doing a version of Living on a Prayer.
Yeah, that was really cool too. Yeah,
They can put that on there. It was during the same recording sessions. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot they can do. I just wish they would.
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, it's a shame because 25 years of Blaze of Glory, and I was hoping that we would have gotten something for it, but
Yeah,
we're in such a weird era because collectors, big fans like you and I want a physical box set or something,
absolutely.
but these music companies, they look at the general fans, the general public, how many people are actually going to buy it? You know, it's sad because as you can tell, I'm a big Bon Jovi collector, but
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was going to bring on a guest. I call him my plastic dashboard Jesus.
look at that. The 86 is that from Nika, right? NECA.
Yeah,
Yeah, awesome.
my
You're
little plastic dashboard Jesus. But yeah, I like the physical formats too. But at the end of the day, even if they release a digital box set, like I think Billy Joel just did it recently with a bunch of rarities and live stuff. If they did that, I'd be so happy. But some kind of deluxe or some sort of something for this album because it was such a milestone. Think that you mentioned it. Nominated for Academy Award, nominated for a Grammy, won the Golden Globe, number one album, number one. I mean, it's just I wish they would do something because it's so good.
absolutely. I'm with you, man. You're preaching to the choir. Next one is Santa Fe, and this is a fan favorite. And
Absolutely, one of my favorites, one of my top two from this album.
I personally think this is probably one of John's best songs vocally. It blows me, and I wish he would have done it live. Never did. Especially, I would have loved to have seen 1990 JBJ sing this song live.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, one of my other favorite things about this song too is the violins in the intro and the da 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 da
yeah.
da da. Man, that tugs on your heartstrings.
Like an orchestra, like a mini orchestra or
Oh
brass
yeah,
section. Just it's great.
yeah, yeah. I think this song is about Judgment Day. Finding peace and how being a good man, you're corrupted by society. There's lyrics, and I blame this world for making a good man evil.
That's my favorite lyric in the whole song. Yeah,
It's this world that can drive a man mad. And I love those two lines because it's the truth. It's that nature versus nurture where society corrupts us and society either makes you a bad person or
it just forces you to make decisions that you otherwise wouldn't make.
exactly. Um, and I love the flow of this too. So like I said, you had that orchestral intro that but I love how the song starts out with John in the first verse, and then he start like his vocals start making the song higher, or
Yeah,
what's what I'm looking for. The flow. Uh,
just more intense. His vocals are just unbelievable towards
yeah,
the end of the song. It's like you don't think it's going to get any better, and then by the end, when he's screaming out those words, it's just unreal.
yeah, yeah. I want to pull out the lyrics. There's a few spots on here where I think he just sounds so what's wrong with yeah, so the verses he's kind of at a lower tone, but then in the chorus he raises his voice. Um okay, so this is the problem. Now I ain't getting into heaven. If the devil has his way, I'm sure I'm gonna live forever, heading back to Santa Fe. And I love the way that he sings those lines. Back to the top here. I usually know these songs by heart.
I think like a lot of the songs in the album, I think that what he's singing is first
Yeah,
person Billy the Kid. It's like him singing to himself.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, like his vocals on this song just blow me away throughout the entire thing. You're like, can you believe that one guy can sing that like that? That's why he makes the big bucks.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah. Anything you want to say about Santa Fe other than
No,
it's
just like again, it
fantastic?
was my second favorite song on the whole album, and that's saying a lot because every single song is so epic.
Oh, I know.
And to this day, the singing to it, it just gives me chills. It's so different from anything that Bon Jovi would have done,
Yeah,
and but it's just as good. It blew me away. The songwriting, you're right. The orchestral moves in the beginning and throughout the song, but the singing and the lyrics are just just
yeah.
epic, man. So good.
And it should have been a single.
Yeah,
We say that, but you have to look at the radio market, blah blah blah. But I wish more people other than Bon Jovi fans could hear how great this song is because it is one of the most fantastic songs on this album, especially both.
yeah,
Um, all right, next one is Justice in the Barrel, and I think this song is pretty clear. I think it's just about justice is your loaded gun, and it's about
yeah,
survival. You know,
yeah.
um, now I remember being a kid. I'm like, what the fuck is this? The intro is so freaking weird. I know it fits for the movie. If this was not for a movie, it was just on the album to be on the album, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Look, I was 15 listening to that intro with the
Yeah,
with the with the with the female vocals and the weird intro with Jeff Beck, and I'm like
yeah,
I was 15. I'm Jerry. I was scared.
yeah. It was like the Indians chanting, and then you had this woman that just screams in the background.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden the drums come in, it's a big boom, and then that guitar riff comes in. And you know what? I'll say it. That fucking guitar riff, man, it is sexy. I
yeah,
love it. You know, oh, it's so freaking good.
yeah. I mean, I knew of Jeff Beck before that because of stuff
Yeah,
with Rod Stewart and stuff like that, but I didn't know about his guitar playing until this album. And oh my God, did it open up my eyes about this
yeah,
guitar player?
yeah.
Unreal
I
what he
think
did on this album.
it's probably my favorite riff on the album. And that's the best part of the song for me is that guitar riff.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And I love the way that John hey, Mister, can you help me? I'm a loner on the run. Um, I jumped head first into a bottle. And I love the way the drums come in after he says head first. I
Like a
was looking,
shotgun.
what's that?
It
Yeah,
sounds like a shotgun going off.
yeah, that's true. I was looking for a friend, came up to sort of nothing. I didn't find the truth, only found an end. And I think John was really relating to himself in that verse too. Um, trying to by the bottle that you drink, and wanted.
I
Um,
was just about to mention that the correlation to wanted in that. Yeah.
yeah, the correlation. So I think it's like John trying to find someone to help him through a really dark time, and but he found himself in a bottle. Um, my favorite lyric of the song though is because what you get in life, you take it. You got to hold on, make it last. They say good things come to those who wait, but it'll life that goes by so fast. And those are absolutely true words, because for me, those lines mean if you want to make something happen, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Don't wait for it to come to you. You go and take it,
Yeah.
and live life on your own terms, basically. Um, the bridge is fantastic. I love how John changes his delivery. They take me to in my sleep at night and a gun somewhere burning my name. Um, and I think the solo is really cool after that, because it starts out as an acoustic solo, and I think it's on a 12 string. Um, and then it turns into an electric solo,
Yeah.
which I think is fantastic. I think Jeff Beck is on both of those solos. I think he does both.
It's an epic song, man. I mean, it's the longest song on the album. It's 7 minutes, believe it or not.
Yeah, well,
And
yeah, because you had that fucking weird Indian
you,
song at the beginning.
you have the Indian
You know,
chant and everything. So yeah.
that Indian chant goes for like 2 minutes, and like, hey, let's get on with the song here. It, I don't know. It's kind of like Tokyo Road. That intro
Yeah,
is like, what the fuck is this?
yeah.
And I forget what South Florida, something like that.
Sakura, Sakura. It's like a
Sakura or
traditional
something. Yeah,
Japanese song. Yeah, yeah. You're
yeah.
right.
When I was a kid, I
And
thought she was saying South Florida, South
yeah,
Florida.
no, I would have caught on to that, but no, it's Sakura, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah. Um, Next one is Never Say Die.
Great song.
Now, if I could pick any song on this album to see the band Bon Jovi do, this one would be it because I think it would be so cool to hear the band record this song, especially Richie and Tico on this.
Especially Richie's, back, vocals along with John's, it would be just
Yeah, be-
tremendous.
because throughout the song you'll hear, John's backing vocals, that's right, or yeah, or like little things that are in the background. Imagine Richie having those lines, you know, that would have been awesome. Um,
That would have been so. And he did do this live, I think at what was it, the fan club thing at
yeah, Starland
Starland
Ball
Ballroom.
2009, which that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was good.
That entire show was so good because he did covers and he did Bon Jovi songs, but he also dug deep and did a lot of stuff from Days of Glory and Destination Anywhere. That was a
He
fantastic
did power station songs for Christ's sake.
Power Station songs. You're right. Um, for me, I think this song has a lot of different meanings. First, I think about brotherhood, and I think out of all the songs and on this album, Never Say Die, I think really talks about where John was at in his life, and especially with the band. Because this song is a little bit about brotherhood. John talking about, in my mind, the band and loyalty. There's a part of the song where he says, I guess he'd say we had a pact, these words we knew so well. Still they remain unspoken, and we talk them to the fire, and we take them to the fiery gates of hell. Once I was afraid of love, but when it's your brother, those
Those
things
things
change
change.
because love is just another world, our word for trust. And so I think he was really talking about the band there, and I think the
Yeah,
song is
I can't get enough of his friendship songs, to be honest with you. I can't. They're so awesome.
yeah. And John also talking about, the mortality, your mortality and living life to the fullest. Going back to the previous song, getting out there and taking chances and taking what you want in life.
Yeah.
Um, and that song, pretty much saying don't give up, keep going. Which that's been a Bon Jovi message for albums to come, and I love that message because it's very inspiring, not to give up on yourself and just keep on going, you know. Um, John's scream at Never Say Die in the outro, probably one of my favorite parts about this song as well.
Yeah. So
And
powerful.
and another great guitar riff and solo. I'm trying to remember how the guitar riff goes. It goes da, da, da. Yeah, I have it in my mind, but yeah, fantastic.
Well, he did that same interview that I keep bringing up when he did the Alice Cooper song and the long Blood Money. He actually did an acoustic version, believe it or not, of Never Say Die, just John,
Yeah,
and it's so different, so different. I gotta send this to you after we hang up. It's you hear the song completely different, a completely different monster, but it works.
yeah. I have to check. It's been a long time since I've ever seen it, if I've seen it. But yeah, I definitely want to check it out. Next one is You Really Got Me Now. Man, do I love this one. And
I do too. So much fun.
like I said earlier, this is the second song that people would get to hear because it was a B-side to Blaze of Glory. It's just a fun 2.5 minute song. It feels like one of those songs where you go into a honky tonk bar and you just see this band on stage just playing. That's the feeling of this song. And it has Little Richard, Elton John, etc. coming together. And I love the way that John's vocals are kind of isolated when he sings. I think
Yeah,
it's so cool. Um, the and having that raw classic rock sound, like back to basics, kind of has. I think somewhere it said like it was like a Kinks influenced song.
I don't know
Where
if it was because of Little Richard or because of the piano playing, but I heard a lot of maybe Motown or R&B kind of vibe to it.
yeah,
It was just so playful, so fun, so awesome,
Yeah,
such a break from the rest of the album. Not that you needed a break,
yeah,
but it
absolutely,
was
perfect.
a bit of a little commercial break, which was so much fun. You know, it was great. The
Yeah,
lyrics, Little Richard, everything was so good about it.
yeah, yeah. Because Santa Fe, Justice in the Barrel, Never Say That. They're really heavy songs.
Hardcore, deep songs. Yeah,
Yeah, and then you get You Really Got Me Now, and then you get Bang and Drum that's inspiring, and and so on. But for me, I think the song is about just being captivated by someone. For the movie, The Whorehouse. That scene with I don't think the song is even in the movie, but the whorehouse scene I think would have been really cool to put in the movie. Um, and then I think also John, talk about that rock and roll infatuation. And
yeah,
how rock and roll just captivates us. Um, and I would have loved John could still do it. I'd love to see this song live. Even if it
absolutely.
was like I could see
It's not
John
going to
go.
happen. But
No,
man, if I could create my fantasy set list, half the songs. No, I think probably all the songs from this album would be on it. It would have to
yeah,
be like a 6 hour concert.
yeah, man, mine would be a 24-hour concert. But
Yeah,
um, and I love how John is also excited for Little Richard to be in the song and Elton John. Like Elton John's verse. You say you talk to everyone who's anyone in town, but they don't recognize you with your out of mouth. I think that's the verse. And you hear John screaming in the background, like yeah, and,
yeah,
so happy that he's there. Having that in the song and having like all these artists, it makes you feel like you're in the studio watching them play together. You know,
yeah.
um, and then my favorite lyric is, "Who am I to judge a man who says that he is his own biggest fan?" And I love the way that John delivers that line because I think it's right before the little bit of a piano solo that Little Richard does.
Yeah, he says Richard, and then Little Richard goes off on a piano solo. Yeah,
Yeah. And then you hear John in the background screaming, yeah. And you could,
yeah,
like, I can picture John with just the biggest smile on his face watching Little Richard play that.
absolutely, man. I mean, you're there watching a legend. It's
Yeah.
great.
And it just feels like one of those songs where you just like it's like a one shot take of the band performing this. Where they're on the studio together, they just play for one time and done. It feels that authentic of a song. It's not overproduced. It's really just get in there, record it, that's it. You know?
I think it's even in mono, if I'm not mistaken, because you can hear the difference between the production of it between those songs and that song and the rest of the album. I think it may have been in mono, kind of like what they did with
Yeah, yeah,
Ride,
yeah, yeah,
Cowboy
yeah.
Ride.
That's the word I was looking for earlier. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Um, and then the delivery of you brought a knife to a gunfight and you're shouting that I'm dead. My old friend Smith and Wesson thinks you're over your head. You know, they're really fun lyrics and it adds to the joy of the song.
I think this is one of those albums that if we had the wherewithal now, I would love to go back. I mean, granted, I was a kid, but if this album would come out today, get the lyric book, read the lyrics before you even hear the songs. Read the lyrics, and you're like, man, this is some this is a heavy ass record.
Sure
And
is.
then you hear the music, and you're just blown away again, you know. But
Yeah.
the lyrics themselves are just
Yeah.
eh, amazing.
For me, I think a big part of it is the way that John delivers the vocals,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
lines. It makes you really feel those songs. Because anyone can sing as well, not anyone, but people can sing a song, but if you don't put your heart and your soul into it, it's not that authentic, you know?
yeah,
Because you have to sing it. And that's why like I always like songs where maybe the artist hasn't written the song, but they record it. Okay, that's great. But I think it makes the song even more special when you know the artist wrote the song and records because he knows the emotion that he has to that song, that
yeah.
personal connection, and then that's what makes you feel the song. Um, Next one is "Bang a Drum." Um,
This is by far
yeah,
my favorite song on the whole
yeah.
entire CD.
Is it really? I'll
Absolutely.
I'll
I
let
fell
you.
in love with this. I couldn't. I played the hell out of this cassette from front to back, but man, I put that song on repeat. I kept rewinding it. I don't know how many times. Drove my parents nuts.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let you lead the song. Then it's your favorite. You get to lead it.
Yes, absolutely. It's it's rock, it's gospel, it's everything. It's
Yeah.
again, the lyrics are amazing. I love that. Very, very autobiographical. I think he even name checks himself. He said, "I called upon my brother just the other day. He said, John, I'm going to die if I don't start to live again." You know, and it's just such an awesome song. And then the female singers, the female vocals on there, again, name checking that interview that I mentioned. He mentioned in that interview that they're the Waters sisters. Her last name was Waters, and they're the same girls that sing gospel, sing the female voices on "Part of the Matter" by Don Henley.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, when you know that the part that goes "Forgiveness, forgiveness," that's
They're
them.
the same.
That's them. I didn't know until
I,
John brought it up in that interview, and the song is epic.
yeah,
The ending of the song when it's a cappella and John
yeah.
screams out "Brother, Amen," all this stuff.
Didn't
So
he
good.
say, yeah, hallelujah? Hey, yeah, I love that, man. Um, Fantastic. Anything you want to bring up that?
No, I saw when I was younger. In that same special, Guns and Glory, they had video footage of Jeff Beck in the studio playing the guitar to this song, the riff, and then John stopping him and asking him to slow it down and play it a certain way. And then Jeff instantaneously knows what he's talking about and plays it exactly that way. And then John starts to laugh, saying, "I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to tell Jeff Beck how the fuck to play a guitar." It's so good, man. And that song, I think, just defines the heart of the rest of the album. It encompasses friendship, it encompasses loneliness,
Yeah,
soul searching, and getting out of a hard situation.
yeah.
It encompasses all the themes of the album. In my opinion, that one song is so good. My
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah, it's about believing in yourself and living life authentically and being true to yourself. And also, John finding himself. It's one of those songs that is very soulful and inspiring. Um, and Another thing that we have to bring up too, in 1998, Chris Ledoux, I think
The
you
Ducks,
pronounce it.
yeah, you're right. I heard that.
Yeah,
I've heard that version
he took us that song, put on his album, and did a music video for it. And
with
Ni-
John.
1998, JBJ comes in, and I think he sings the second verse. I
Yeah,
called my brother just the other day. He said, oh no, yeah, no, I think that's the line he sings in the song. But one of my favorite lyrics is, "I went to see a preacher to teach me how to pray. He looked at me and smiled, and that preacher turned away." He said, "If you want to tell him something, you ain't got to fold your hand. You say it with your heart, your soul, and believe it." And I'd say, "Amen." Ain't
great
that
song.
ain't that the truth? Like I think like that line there specifically, talks about how you can communicate with yourself and with God in your own way. You know, like that you ain't got to fold your heart or your hands. You say it with your heart, your soul, and you believe it, and you say Amen.
Man, you don't got to go to church. You just do it right there and then.
Yep. And then you mentioned a little bit of this earlier, but I got to finish it. I called upon my brother. He said, "John, I'm going to die if I don't start to live again. I work each day and night like clockwork just to make ends meet. I could kick this bad world's ass back and just get up off of my feet." I love the way that transitions into the chorus. I think the bridge, incredible John vocals. I don't know where all the rivers run. I don't know how far. I don't know how come. Well, I'm gonna die believing that each step that I take ain't worth the ground that I walk if we don't walk our way.
Yeah,
And I want to emphasize those two lines. Ain't worth the ground that I walk if we don't walk our way. Meaning back to going being your authentic self, and
yeah,
kind of, we weren't born to follow kind of rules.
yes, yep,
Like you've got to live on this world on your own terms and what you believe in. And another great Jeff Beck solo as well. Yeah, fantastic song, man.
I
Uh,
remember, I don't know how many years between that song coming out, all those years thinking, oh my God, I would kill to hear that song live. It was such a great, meant so much to me, that song, through end of high school, going into college, just couldn't stop listening to it. I want to hear it live. I want to hear it live. And sure enough, he did it at the Starland Ballroom.
yeah,
And I loved it, man. It was so good.
yeah. It'd be cool to get that. I think Lorenza does some of the female backing vocals on that, if I recall.
Maybe, probably.
It'd
That's
be
the
cool
only
to
female
see.
in the band. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see like an orchestra, and some gospel singers in the background singing it. Next one is "Dying Ain't Much of a Living." I love this song, but it's like one of those songs where like you can like picture you know, uh,
Yeah.
it's a very sad song, and I think it talks about the exhausting life of being an outlaw, um, and thinking what is his life for? And if I remember correctly, I think right before this song starts, I think it's that the 8-year-old boy that dies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you wrote a 16-year-old boy straight to his grave and the rest of us straight to hell.
yeah. I think that was Kiefer Sutherland that said that.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the song starts, but the intro really pulls on your heartstrings. I think that's what really pulls you in for the song. And you know what's weird about this song is that I don't know if it was the record company that did this, but they did like a really weird music video release for this
Okay,
song.
I was gonna bring that up. It was on the
Yeah,
Keep the Faith, the videos, but
yeah,
the video is actually from a book. I read that book in high school with a guy being hung, and then he actually gets hung, but he escapes in the water, and then he does all this stuff. And at the end of the song, it was just him imagining that, but he actually does get hung right after that and dies. But it's from a book. I forget the name of the book.
yeah,
But yeah, very weird video. The band's not, John's not in it. It's in a sepia tone. It's not even black and white.
yeah,
But I was familiar with the story. And as far as the song, this one had to grow on me, believe it or not. As big of an Elton John fan as I am, it had to grow on me because by the time I heard Bang a Drum, which freaked me out because it was just so good, emotionally, I was exhausted by the end of that record because of how awesome and deep the lyrics were. So by the time I got to Dying Much of It, I'm like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. This is so good, but I'm exhausted. It took a while for it to grow on me. And then now I can't stop listening to it. It's so good. The lyrics, the
yeah.
performance, the vocals, the theme, everything.
You can really hear or tell Elton John's influence on this song. It has that really Elton John sound to it. But yeah, I really I like it. It's a very emotional song. Those are the best songs in my opinion. And I want to talk about John's relation to it too, because I think, within himself, he was, questioning where he was in life. You know, in the lines, all this fame don't bring you freedom, though it wears a thin disguise. Thinking that, fame and fortune it isn't what it's all cracked up to be.
Yeah.
And it's not as great as people think it is. Another great thing about the song too is the na na na.
Yeah.
That really tugs at your. For me, it tugs at my heart. That takes the song to another level, in my
Yep.
opinion. So
It's funny that you mentioned that about it sounds like an Elton John song. That song. I'm a big Elton fan. I can completely see him doing that whole song by himself. Even the way John sings
yeah,
it, I can completely hear Elton just doing it by himself on tour as one of his songs. It's such an Elton song.
yeah, absolutely, man. Um, and the next one is the last song, and it's
Which is the one that rocked, Guano City.
what's that?
The next song is the song that rocked, Guano City.
Guano City. Yep, and rock. For me, like I remember being a kid listening to cassette. I'm like, when's John gonna sing? And
Yeah,
then you find out that John doesn't sing on it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like an instrumental, and the album. It's cool. Nothing really. Yeah, it's cool. It's
I think
awesome.
I heard it. I think I heard it one, and I never went back to it again because the
Yeah,
rest of it was just so good. I'm not going to waste my time with Guano City,
yeah.
but oh my God, from Billy Get Your Guns to Dying Ain't Much of a Living and everything in between, it was just
You know, and,
it
and
was
it's
it was a great album.
Yeah. And you know what? If you look at it from a movie perspective, you know, mine is Guano City. You have Billy Get Your Guns as the fun story about old Billy, be on the lookout. Actions have consequences, kind of storyline. People are out to get you. Just being prepared for,
Yeah,
outlaws to come, and shoot you down. So you Billy Get Your Guns, but then it ends with dying ain't much of a living. And I think it comes full circle about the cowboy life, the outlaw, and why are we doing this and what are we living for? What are we fighting for? Kind of thing. You're
yeah,
basically trying to survive. So I think Dying Ain't Much of a Living is a great way to end the album, you know?
yeah. It was a great ending. Like you said, full circle.
Absolutely. Anything else that you want to say about this album that we did not cover?
The only thing that I can say, two things, because I know you may hear it all the time, but I don't get a chance to express it to you. Just thank you again so much for everything that you do. It's a hobby for you, it's a passion for you, but I know that I speak for more than just me when I say that it brings a lot of us a lot of solace, knowing that every week we're going to have something from you talking about our favorite band and
Yeah.
something we'll be able to look forward to. And the other thing is to reiterate, for the love of God, please release some sort of deluxe edition of this because it would be such a gift.
Yeah. We'll
If they're
start.
listening, if
Yeah.
they're listening, please.
We'll start protesting it. We'll be at the shows, holding up signs. Blaze of Glory Deluxe Edition now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, we should get something because it's such. I'd love to hear the demos. It'd be nice to have like a little book of all the different because there's a lot of cool photos of John from Mark Weiss and
Yeah, yeah,
Tim White that didn't make the album, but like if you watched the Hampton Water event back in December in John's Red Bank studio, he has pictures from the Blaze of Glory shoot.
yeah.
A lot of
Even
fantastic
I
photos.
know for a fact I've seen some pictures of Mark Weiss with of John and Jeff Beck.
Yeah,
Which I thought would be great to put photos of that because Jeff plays such a huge role in it.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I got to check out more of his work and Elton John's and stuff. I actually want to watch the Elton John movie. What That's a whole different story. But yeah, anyway, buddy, it was great. Stay on in the recording, but buddy, it was great to have you on today. I knew you would be a great way to kick off the album discussion series. And yeah, it's a fantastic. I've been listening to this album all week in preparation for this, and I couldn't wait for this chat. So it was great, and
It
I
was
look forward
great,
to
and
having.
it's a great idea to have to review all the albums. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it was great to have you on. We'll have you on
Thank you
again.
so much. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Take it easy.